Welcome back to Morning Drive, as I am very pleased to welcome into the show three-time European Tour winner and 2016 Ryder Cup star Rafa Cabrera Bello. Good morning, Rafa. It is wonderful to see you. I know your season came to a pretty crashing halt, like many other players did at the Players' Championship. But just give us a sense of what life has been like since that fateful Friday.
Hi, first of all, good morning, Anna. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's just been something really weird that we couldn't really prepare for. Now we were playing the Players, and that Thursday night, my wife tells me that the tournament has been cancelled, and that there's more cancellations coming up, and we're not playing tomorrow. So my initial thought is just like, crap, I played good on Thursday. I was looking forward to Friday, but right now we're in the process of thinking what to do. Should we stay here another month and a half, or should we go somewhere else? But we'll see.
I know you've been really cherishing this time away from the game to spend rare quality time with your wife, Sophia, and your little daughter, Alva. In what ways do you think you may look back at this time away from the game in a positive light?
Well, to be 100% honest, it's hard for me to hate this situation completely because as a professional golfer, you never get the feeling of spending a lot of time together with your family. Now, especially with the baby, getting to see her absolutely every day and seeing how she's changing, how she's learning, how she's growing. I really want this situation over as soon as possible because I understand it's very horrible and it's just really bad for everything. If I'm brutally honest, there are parts of me that are enjoying so much time at home with my family.
You've obviously been working with renowned golf coach David Leadbetter for a long time now. What's been your process in terms of working on your game, or is it just about sort of staying patient until you have a schedule to sort of work towards?
We've never worked in dramatic changes. I think if you have seen my swing evolve throughout the years, there hasn't been a moment where I have really committed a lot of time and effort to make something that, in our opinion, already worked pretty good because we felt that I always had a good swing. At the moment, I've seen him twice over this 5-week period since we haven't been competing. I've driven down to Orlando. I know when we do start, there's going to be an intense season ahead of us with lots of tournaments in a row. So I feel like over-practicing right now could be counterproductive.
You're very much a dedicated member of the European Tour. What was your reaction to Keith Pelly's memo when he suggested that when play does resume, there will be changes that players will have to adjust to, such as reduced purses and amenities that you guys have become so comfortable with? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, that's of course. It's stuff that makes a whole lot of sense. We are trying to get back out competing as soon as it's safe, but the levels of safety can change. If we're used to having a players' lounge, or if we're used to enjoying a locker room, if we're used to big crowds, well, that's not going to reduce the safety issue. That's not going to make it any safer. I think that's just part of the things that European Tour in this case is going to have to adapt. The reduced price fund makes sense. The economy in general is struggling a lot. I don't see why the golf world wouldn't necessarily take a hit as well. And like every other business or any other company, we're going to try to make that as minimal as possible and try to take care of our players, of our member, of our staff, and of everyone involved in the European Tour in this particular case. I'm very, very comfortable saying that the PGA Tour is gonna do the same.
And speaking of that, Rafa, Seth Waugh has said that the PGA of America are fully prepared to have the PGA Championship without any fans. Now, some people might say that it might lose a bit of its prestige, some atmosphere, the pressure that the crowds bring. But for you, what makes a major a major?
Well, majors are major because of the history they have, no? Of course, that's not the only thing. That's a big part of it. Majors for me also depend on the courses they're played. The setup of how that course is set up also makes it a major. The field of the best players in the world competing in majors, that makes a major a major. of course, the atmosphere, the pressure, those things could be lost, of course, or could change dramatically without a crowd. I think most players would prefer the way they are with the crowds, but if the exchange is not having them, then why not? Let's just play them this year without a crowd, and then hopefully, well, I'm pretty sure next year we'll get back to the new normality.
And one event, Rafa, that you know as well as anybody does that feeds off the energy of the crowds is the Ryder Cup. You made your debut back in 2016 and they were not quiet out there at Hazeltine. It was pretty hostile out there. But do you believe the Ryder Cup should go ahead this year if fans won't be able to make it out there to Wisconsin?
It's hard. From what I can say, I mean, I think the Ryder Cup it's a different type of tournament. I think the crowd plays a huge part in it. In golf, normally you have a crowd either supporting you or silent. Ryder Cup is the only event that you have a crowd supporting you, and you have a crowd rooting against you. So if we lose the crowd, it's really gonna change a lot. So I haven't really made my mind up whether it should go, if the Ryder Cup should be played with or without crowd. But what I will say is that if it's not safe to play with a crowd, then the crowd shouldn't be there. And now the second issue would be if the Ryder Cup should actually take place or not without a crowd.
We're so glad you and the family are staying safe, and we really look forward to seeing you out there once play resumes. So take care.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Rafa. Well, we just were talking about it there. And speaking of the Ryder Cup, you can catch an encore performance of the final day of the 2018 Ryder Cup today on Golf at 11 a.m. Eastern. Plus, be sure to stick around throughout the day for more PGA and LPGA Tour action and all the latest news with Golf Central at 6 p.m. Eastern. Morning Drive is back right after this.